Hey guys, it's me again, Sarah Berry, CPA, Texarkana, Texas, and again, today is March the 4th, 2021. So I'm doing this video as a follow-up to the one that I just did, so it's not quite so long as the ones I've done in the past. So the first video I did for you, I told you that Schedule C filers, sole proprietors, self-employed, independent contractors, whatever you want to call them, if you're filing a Schedule C, you can now use gross receipts to calculate your PPP. So if you watch that and you're a Schedule C filer, then this is your follow-up video where I'm going to cover some FAQs. Some questions that we get quite a bit, I wanted to go ahead and address those because we're getting a lot of calls and we will get even more once these videos and newsletters go out. Okay, so the first question I'm going to get, and have been getting, is can I use 2019 or 2020? My Schedule C gross receipts. One year is higher than the other. You can use either one. You can use 2019 or 2020 up to gross receipts of $100,000. So obviously you want to use the one that is higher to get the most money for you. Okay, so if you have not done the 2020 Schedule C, you need to go ahead and get that worked up because the bank is going to be asking for that as documentation for your gross receipts. So you need to get that prepared as soon as possible. You don't actually have to file it yet if you don't have everything completed, but you do need to go ahead and get it worked up. And the number one thing you have to figure out is what is my gross receipts in 2020 so I can get at least that portion of the Schedule C completed. Okay, so another question I get is, if I file PPP1 using my net income from my Schedule C, can I go back and increase my PPP to use the gross amount? So the answer is maybe. So if you have gotten PPP1 and you've gotten it forgiven, screwed. So the law is you can't go back and increase that PPP1 if PPP1 has already been forgiven. So if you got PPP1 based upon your net income on your Schedule C and it has not been forgiven, then there is a way through the SBA rules. You can go back and increase your PPP1 to the gross amount, using the gross amount on your Schedule C as the driver to calculate your PPP. That is in the law that you can do that, but not very many banks are doing that. And unfortunately, at this point, the banks set the rules, and I have not seen a local bank that is going back and increasing a PPP for any changes in rules. One, they're pushing to get them forgiven, and they've probably pushed the customers to have them forgiven, and if you're forgiven, you're done. Two, they don't really want to mess with them because it is more work to do that. So if you've gotten a PPP1 based upon net, you might be able to get an increase to base it on gross, but probably not. That's just the truth of the matter. Banks set the rules here. So local banks are not processing these as of yet that I know of. These applications were just released. I saw them before I got out of bed this morning, sent a couple texts to some bankers, and they were like, oh my gosh, I haven't even seen this yet. So let's let banks get their processes in place and figure out how they are going to process these new applications. You know, a lot of banks have set up portals, and they're going to have to go in there and rewrite their portals. If they're taking paper applications, it might not be as hard because it's just a new paper application that, you know, we help you complete and we send to the banker and they input it into the portal. But a lot of your bigger banks have to go in and rewrite their portals. So let's be patient with them. They're doing the best they can. They're just as frustrated with this process as we are. Banks are not making us a ton of money on this. They're providing it as a convenience for their customers. So be kind to your bankers. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so if you had a Schedule C, if you're a sole proprietor, self-employed, and you have actually you have employees working for you, then your PPP could be more than $20,833. You would take your gross receipts from line 7 and then add your payroll cost, your wages paid to employees to that, to add those two together, and then take and divide by 12, multiply times 2.5 to get your PPP calculation. So keep in mind, there is instances where the self-employed can get more than $20,833 if you have employees. But if you don't have other employees, the most you can get is $20,833 first draw and $20,833 second draw. So let's talk about that. So PPP1 is not based on need. PPP1, your income could be, I said based on need. PPP1, you do not have to say that your income is decreased to get that. Okay, so you could get PPP1 even if you actually had more income in 2020. Okay, so but PPP2, you actually have to show that your income is down 25% either overall over the course of the year or any quarter of 2020 compared to that same quarter in 2019. Now, I'm not going to get real technical into the rules. There are actually all different types of cases where you compare different quarters, but as a general rule, your income has to be down in 2020 compared to 2019. It has to be down 25%. Either in total or quarter by quarter comparison in order to qualify for PPP2. So, what if you are a Schedule C self-employed person and you now qualify for a PPP based on gross receipts? You could get a PPP1 for up to $20,833. Could you spend that and then file for a PPP2 if your income for 2020 is down by 25%? It's possible. We haven't seen exact guidance from the SBA on that yet. They've been working to get us these 4 new applications out and changing the rules on these. And so then we will wait to see if we can get a PPP1, and then if your income's down, get a PPP2. So you can get 2 draws of $20,833. My guess is there's going to be a timing there that you have to get PPP1, spend all of that, and then get PPP2. That brings me to my next note is that PPP is supposed to stop on March 31st. But I feel like with this new stimulus bill, they're going to put more funds into the PPP, so you're not going to run out of money. And also they're going to extend it on, I don't know for how long. I haven't read the entire stimulus bill because I'm trying to save myself some sanity from reading bills and then they keep changing. It can really get to accountants mentally when you start doing that, especially in the middle of tax season and everything else that's been going on for 2020 and 2021. So what I'm trying to say is it's supposed to run out March 31st, but I don't feel like it's just an urgent rush because this stimulus bill is going to put more funds into it and going to extend it out for a longer period of time. One more thing I want to note, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I've had some questions from clients about partnerships. So I was really hoping when the new applications come out, and I was just reading through the instructions of them, I was really hoping that they would include partnerships as self-employed so that we could use gross receipts on a partnership as a driver of a PPP, because I have several clients who have suffered. They have a loss, so they haven't been able to qualify for a PPP under the old rules based on they actually have a loss. They could qualify based on some wages, but it wasn't very much. But I was hoping that we could use gross on partnerships because a lot of times partnerships are considered self-employed individuals because you're subject to self-employment tax if you have net income. But according to the rules, I don't see where that's possible, that we can use gross receipts on a partnership as a driver of PPP. So I wanted to throw that out there as well. Wrap it up. Thanks so much. Bye.